Home stretch. Let's do this thing. Rock and roll. Well, a lot of it was just based from true stories. The U.S. Attorney's investigation, those are real life people, and reading about them made me start to realize this could actually work as a scripted drama because there's an active investigation here. And then I kept reading story after story of tragic tales of addiction and abuse. And there was a lot of commonalities between the different stories. So in that, it made me think, instead of telling one person's story, maybe I should have some composite characters here so that I could tell a more universal story. Well, I mean, I thought that what was most important to me was to tell the true story of Purdue Pharma's crimes, the deception, the lies, the manipulation, selling a highly addictive narcotic is essentially being non-addictive or safer than other opioids was sort of their major crime, the original sin here of what they did. I wanted to cover the DEA investigation into Purdue. So there's all these true life things that were really important to me to cover. But then I also wanted to cover their victims. Normally, when I write, I don't really have people in mind as I'm writing, because this may sound very neurotic, but I play the parts out myself as I write. And then at a certain point, I switch that side of my brain off and I start thinking about, we should play this part. Because I'm certainly not going to play all the roles in the show. That'd be kind of weird. Or revolutionary, who knows? In order to truly understand the depth of their crimes, we had to see the lives they destroyed to make money. And without the story of the victims, you're not really telling the story of the opioid crisis. So their story was as important to me as any of the other stories. I just really wanted to get as many of Purdue's crimes into the show as possible. I found their lies and their deception staggeringly horrific. And so the more I could dramatize exactly how they were lying, the more I felt the case could be made of just to show their crimes to the country. The opioid crisis is still going on. I think corruption in the pharmaceutical industry is a terrifying thing because it's medication. So I think too that there's never a bad time to expose that kind of story. And in the case of this story, it ties into influence at the highest levels of the US government. We call it the revolving door, in which people that are regulating companies then leave the government agencies and go work for those companies that they were regulating. So because of that, they don't adequately regulate them because there is a job incentive for them. And I think this is the ultimate nightmare revolving door story. Well, I'd been working on the project actually about a year before I knew about the book, and had already sold it. But then when the book came along, and there was a situation where I was asked to team up with her, I read the book and I thought it was terrific. And I loved Beth personally. And she had really captured the spirit of people on the ground, people that had been victims of Purdue's marketing campaign and then were lost in opioid use disorders. So it seemed like she would be a great collaborator and someone great to have in the room. I want them to have a clear understanding of the crimes of Purdue Pharma, how insidious and sick they were. We discussed in the last few episodes therapies about moving forward and ways that we can turn the corner on this crisis through medical treatments that some people are afraid to get. They're stigmatized. And only, I think, 12 to 15% of the people that need these treatments actually get them. And it's a real shame because the treatments are so effective and life-changing.